Welcome back to the advisory table. Today's guest is a construction leader with multi-decade experience in planning and delivering complex construction projects with a client-focused approach. Under his leadership, his company gained significant recognition by rising to number one on Profit 500's list of fastest growing companies. It's an honor and a privilege to welcome my dear friend and former colleague, Mr. Marcus Gillam.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this, Marcus. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Let's just jump right into maybe talking a little bit about yourself, your history. It's marked really by a lifelong exposure in the construction business. Your father, Keith, was the founder of Van Bots Construction, which you yourself worked at for many years. At one time, Van Bots, I would say, was one of the largest construction companies in the country behind PCL and Ellis Dawn before it was sold to Carillion. So how did growing up in the business really shape your approach to delivering complex construction projects?
Yeah, great question. Working with my father, working at Van Bots was very foundational for me. I started my career actually working as a laborer, in my during my summer breaks, right when I was in university, and then that continued to evolve. I worked in our estimating department, worked in operations, and so I ended up with a good perspective on the business. But a few things were, I think, impactful for me. One of the most impactful experiences was the work I did with Honda manufacturing while at Van Bots. And so in that role, which was operational, I learned about lean manufacturing, like lean culture. During my entire tenure at Van Bots, I learned about how working together, how collaboration can yield to superior outcomes. And that's been one of my foundational beliefs through my career, is just this idea of collaboration and teamwork and finding ways to harness that and to leverage that, regardless of maybe what contract type you're working on, regardless of what type of asset you're building, right?
I really want to actually unpackage something there, because I know that Gillam Group is considered a leader in the IPD space, which is integrated project delivery, something that you really picked up, I guess, foundationally very early on from the Van Bots days. And a lot of people don't know what IPD is. I'm wondering if you could maybe talk a little bit about IPD, how it differs from traditional CCDC approaches, CCDC2, and why the IPD approach is a better way of delivering projects.
Absolutely. So my company, Gillam Construction, has done numerous IPD projects. I think we're one of the leading construction companies in Ontario for integrated project delivery. But there's some notable differences between IPD and traditional delivery. If you start off with a traditional construction contract, an owner hires a contractor to build a set scope for a set price for a set schedule. And usually the owner has an architect they've engaged in a side agreement. And so that arrangement can be productive. It can work under certain conditions, but the parties are typically not motivated to really collaborate, to work together. So, and there's been a lot of, I would call it high-profile project failures, right, through this fixed-price model. We're seeing some of that today with the Eglinton Crosstown line, right? That was a fixed-price design build. Big issues coming out of that project. It's at least 3 years late now, maybe longer.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah. So, and there's reasons behind that, but the origin of IPD was a bunch of owners who repeatedly buy construction, coming together and brainstorming about a better way to work, a better way to execute on construction projects. And so parties are actually uniquely motivated to work together to solve problems, which is not the case with traditional delivery. So IPD is a groundbreaking way to work. We don't push it on all of our clients because a lot of, I think, people in development or owners have to get to that point. They've got to be comfortable with that form of agreement. However, we do take a lot of lessons learned from IPD, and we integrate that into our business generally. I think they felt that traditional contracts were a barrier to collaboration.
Right.
And so that's one of the things I find inspiring about IPD is the how it brings people together to promote collaboration, which is very effective. Using lean tools, that they are very effective when they're used properly. But interestingly, you have to have the right culture.
Yes.
To get the most out of lean tools. Without the right culture, then the lean tools will not be effective.
Let's talk a little bit about culture. I certainly remember when I was over at Gillam Group, you used to have little sayings and stuff like that. Or one saying you used to say was culture eats strategy for breakfast. I think you remember that one. Obviously, culture is very, very important to you. As a business owner, tell me one thing you would hope someone notices about your company culture within the first 5 minutes walking into it.
Yeah, great question. Culture is hugely important. I think when you walk into someone's office, you pick up on the culture immediately. I think that quality is a key success factor, right? In this environment. So we're working in an environment now which is very dynamic, right? We've got issues with an aging workforce. We've got issues with tariffs, just overall volatility, softening market. There's all sorts of risks now that are unique to this time. And I find to be able to manage those effectively, you got to be real. You have to be open and transparent. You got to deal with all of your business partners, whether they're counterparties or not, as if you're in business together and you're partners. Because when you have the right information, I find that you can really work together to overcome challenges.
What are some of the overall trends you're seeing in the market today as it relates to construction in general? And I think with construction costs as well.
Certainly, at the moment, we're seeing a lot of uncertainty. We're coming off of the pandemic, in which case we saw a boom. It was actually a good time for construction companies. There was a peak in condo construction as a result of condo sales. And so now we're in a position where the market is softening. And as a business, we're looking at the market and our sales cycle is long. In our case, our sales cycle is maybe 2 or 3 years. So for our business to succeed, we have to look ahead at, the Wayne Gretzky expression was that you skate to where the puck is going, right? And so we're looking ahead. So, the whole residential market has taken a hit. Right now, we're seeing a lot of opportunity with purpose-built rental and affordable housing. Partially through CMHC programs. We've done well in building a book of business on purpose-built rental and affordable housing, but there's no question that construction costs have softened. I think we're seeing probably something around 5%, across the top over the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting part is that wages are not going down, right? Wages are going up. Wages are often set by union agreements. There's some volatility with products and materials, but I think a large part of the softening is coming from margin compression. I just think everyone out there is sharpening the pencil.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah. And I think there's a limit to how far that can go.
Yeah, I would agree. Purpose-built rental and affordable housing, not-for-profit, public sector stuff is where to go, and I think a lot of those verticals, if you will, are going to see the benefit of construction costs coming down. Last question for you. What's something that you believe in strongly today that you did not believe in 20 years ago as it relates to business, the market, or delivering complex construction projects?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm very excited about the opportunities with AI. I never would have expected to see enormous gains on the technology side. One of my philosophies, right, is that the biggest problems in construction come down to interfaces, like communication, like management. And I think previously technology hasn't really played a role, but I think now with AI, I think there's some huge opportunities for our industry just to remove inefficient interfaces, to improve communication, improve workflow.
The efficiency review process alone. I mean, you and I built a hotel together, and it feels like a different lifetime ago, but we did. And I don't know how much you recall about the deficiency review process there, but it was It was very tedious and very onerous, something that I look back on now. And so if we had an AI platform that could have helped us guide us through that deficiency review process, we would have been, half the time, if not less.
I think AI can assist with some of these lean philosophy, and lean management. And I think we're just at the infancy of that.
Marcus, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's always great to speak to you, Michael, and great to see the wonderful things happening here at
Thank you so
and look
much.
forward to collaborating with you more.
And we certainly will. Thank you so much, Marcus. I appreciate it.